First, I would like to thank Ben and Annabelle for their wonderful talks and tributes to their mothers. Mother's Day wouldn't be Mother's Day without beautiful music, and there's nothing more special than primary children singing a special Mother's Day song. Back in the late 19th and early 20th century, there was a famous poet and writer named Rudyard Kipling. He said a quote that has permeated many of us in our lives. God could not be everywhere, and therefore he made mothers. So, if you think about the godlike attributes, which Annabelle talked about, it was with that regard in thinking about the attributes, I would like to thank each one of the sisters in our congregation. So, sisters whose primary language is English, thank you very much. For those who are Brazilian or Portuguese, obrigado, irmã. For those who speak Spanish, gracias, hermanas. For those who speak Creole, messe say yo. For those who speak Samoan, fafay tai. For those who speak Tongan, malo o pai tu. For those who speak Russian, suf si bus sistri. Thank you very much. So, a week ago, Sunday, Chris, Ann and I had the opportunity to talk to our youngest daughter April, who is an amazing mother and woman like her mother and sisters. She was talking about all the things she was doing with being the mother of 4 small kids. She also works as a school therapist and a state communications specialist, amongst other things. And on top of all that, she says, they ask her to teach Mother's Day Relief Society lesson. So, she was kind of lamenting a little bit about that request. Since I'm a glass half full person, I said, my gosh. What an easy lesson for you to teach. I said, you have the best practice mother with your own mother. So, you know what good looks like. But even more than that, all the sisters know what those great attributes are, so just throw out a question and say, what are the attributes that your mother, your grandmother, or a woman special in your life have that has had a profound influence on your life? Have them share this with the sisters next to them. The energy in the room will rise and they will love talking to each other about these attributes and examples, and then share as a large group. On Tuesday, I was doing some work in Omaha, Nebraska, and I received a text from Brother Hess, who said he has been thinking about Sunday's Mother's Day program, and my name had kept coming to his mind. So, I thought, like the story of Enos in the Book of Mormon, where the words of the Lord came to his mind, this might be something that I need to pay attention to. He texted, are you in town this Sunday, and would you be willing to give a talk on Mother's Day? And of course I thought, what a great subject to talk about, and responded yes to both questions. So, I thought, like I suggested to April, an easy kind of design would be to just have everyone sitting in a pew think of an attribute of their mother that had a positive influence on them and share it with those they were sitting with. Although the format for our Sunday sacrament meeting wasn't quite the forum for that. There are other forums that would make sense for that. I thought a simple variation would be ask every in the congregation to individually to ponder just for a minute. Think about your mom, your grandma, some woman special in your life, and think about what is an attribute of theirs that has had a profound effect of you. Also, I was thinking I could incorporate what Elder Bowen suggested in his wonderful talk last week. If you remember, he suggests looking for natural opportunities to be inclusive and involve others in sharing what is important to us. I thought this is easy to do, so I reached out to 33 people, some members of this ward, my family, colleagues that I work with, clients, CEOs of major corporations, and friends, thinking how can I connect them to the gospel by simply asking them to help me? So, I simply said, can you help me? I was asked at the last moment to give a talk on Mother's Day about attributes of their mothers or other women in their lives that had a positive influence on each of them and others. Of the 33 people that I reached out to, all 33 individuals responded most within minutes of the request. Many listed more than one attribute. Their response filled 25 Word document pages of normal type size. The response rate of 100% and the quality of input was wonderful and rich with insights and stories. Many thanked me as it reconnected and reinforced feelings about their mother's contribution in their lives. So, as a social scientist, I pored through the rich qualitative data, and I found 5 categories of attributes that seemed to emerge. After doing my analysis and synthesis of the data, I reached out to ChatGPT to see if there was any research on attributes of great mothers. It came back with 10 which all fit into the 5 categories I had identified. The 5 attribute areas that emerged I want to talk about are: first, unselfish and unconditional love, which were the most frequently mentioned attributes. Second is the support and nurture that our mothers provide for us. Third is building confidence. Fourth is fostering curiosity and creativity. Fifth is teaching values. So, let's talk about each one of those. Since you all have been thinking about an attributes of your mom, your grandmother, or a woman special to you, let's see if and how it fits with the 5 I'm proposing. So, let's start with the most popular, unselfish and unconditional love. There were many great stories about individuals and some about individuals many of us know. One particular one referenced was always thinking about someone else, sister so-and-so needs this or that. Even as her health started to fail, and she was going through chemo, she was asking her sons to take her to visit so-and-so or contact so-and-so and make sure that they are okay. A common comment was, I need find out what's going on with so-and-so. Always thinking about someone else more. When I read or listened to what people said about their own mom, they talked about the family or us kids were always more important than what was going on with her. We were her priority. She was unselfish, always giving the help to others in need. She was involved in humanitarian and service projects. Whatever she was asked or volunteered to do, she was always a 100%. On a personal note, the unconditional love attribute reaches deeply in my life. So, for some of you kids, I grew up in Overland Park, Kansas, the suburb of Kansas City. And one of the neat things that we had in our backyard was a ditch, which is a small area where water flows down. It was a great place to hunt for crawdads and other things that probably weren't so great to find. When it rained, the ditch would sometimes overflow, so it was tempting to try to jump across without falling in. I had a project in the 4th grade to write about a tribe of the Indians that were in the area called the Shawnee. It was back in the day that some of you, if you've watched old films, might have noticed a thing called a typewriter. It's a thing when you typed and you made a mistake, you had to take it out and you had to get what's called whiteout, and you to white out the mistake and they type over it to correct it. It was a time-consuming process because there was no such thing as save. My mom and I were so proud of this major report we did together. My mom put a plastic cover over this multi-page report, so it looked great. I was all set. Santa Fe Trail, my elementary school, was a short distance, only 2 or 3 blocks away. However, it was even shorter if you went down the ditch, which was an adventurous shortcut. The previous night it had rained, and the water in the ditch was flowing. Being adventurous, I chose the shortcut route, with my brother and friends. Doing so, there was this challenge, or some would say temptation, of jumping across the ditch such that I could actually make it to the other side without falling in. So, there I was, poised for my long jump. As I ran and started my jump, I had this sense the ditch seemed a bit wider than I thought. I need to make it over the ditch and prepare for my landing. I luckily made it over the ditch, but the landing was awkward, and to help break my fall, I released the report that my mom and I had worked so hard on. It fell into the ditch, and I chased after it as the ditch water swiftly carried it down past several houses and disappeared in a large storm drain, never to be seen again.